China's running out of money. Rich people sell luxury goods. Even Hermes struggles to sell. That's fine. It's overpriced. It, there's no reason for anyone to ever buy or purchase a bag, for multiple thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. I'll be honest here in terms of Hermes. But let's go ahead and jump into this immediately. This is a suggestion via Discord. Let's do it.
The drop in spending has gotten really serious. I used to own 4 or 5 Hermes bags. I
Oh,
especially loved the Lindy. I bought 3 or 4 of those, maybe even more. As for Louis Vuitton, I've lost count. But honestly, I didn't even like carrying LV
okay.
bags, so I ended up selling all of them. There was a time I stayed at home for over a year. Some of my businesses failed, some I handed over to others. Basically, I had no income at all. I only had a little savings, and the returns were about 2 to 3,000 yuan a month. That's like being on minimum support. I lived super frugally for more than a year.
About 1,000 is $140 US. 2 to 3,000 would be close to $500.
Yuan a month. That's like being on minimum support. I lived super frugally for more than a year. Only in the past 6 months have I started doing live stream sales, but now I don't carry any of my LV or Hermes bags. I just use a canvas bag I bought on Pinduoduo for 17 yuan. That's just over $2. Bags, in the end, are just things. Unless I come across something I really, really love, I don't plan to buy any more designer bags. I've come to believe that if something is cheap, then it's good. I used to not even bother with clothes that were under 2,000 yuan if they were thick, or under 800 yuan if they were thin. I just swiped my card without a second thought. But now, this shirt I'm wearing today cost 17 yuan with free shipping from Pinduoduo. These camo wide-leg pants were 50 yuan, also shipped free. I only buy clothes from Pinduoduo now. I don't even shop on Taobao anymore, let alone go to the mall. I just search for the cheapest options. To me, Pinduoduo clothes are the cheapest, and you can return them for free too. But honestly, I hardly ever return anything. They're so cheap that I already feel lucky just to be able to get them. I'm done with spending big on bags and clothes. I only buy them if they're the absolute
Does she have a
cheapest.
filter
If
on
not, I don't
with
even
this?
consider it. One person commented that this woman's story is a powerful example of how economic changes are deeply affecting how people spend.
Definitely. Absolutely. Guys, she just basically pointed out that some of her businesses are in fact having issues, most likely due to exactly what's going on between China and the United States of America. And I'm glad that she's actually starting to figure out, at least, you do not need to spend the amount of money that some people spend for the sole purpose of encountering a name, guys. Right? I'm glad she's coming to that reality, regardless of whatever her bank account looks like, guys. Seriously.
Going from high-end luxury brands to Pinduoduo's 17 yuan bags isn't just a downgrade. It's a way of coping with financial pressure and reevaluating what really matters. Another person joked, when someone who used to own several Hermes bags say, bags are just things, it really hits different.
They
The
are just
shift isn't
things.
just a personal change, it's practically a snapshot of today's economy. For years, Hermes built a fortress of luxury with rare products, exquisite craftsmanship, and a strong appeal to the ultra-wealthy.
I don't
Bags
get
like the
it.
Birkin and Kelly weren't just fashion items, they were status symbols, markers of unshakable wealth. But now, an economic chill from the East is starting to reshape the luxury market.
已经有点不可逆了。
Honestly, I think this trend of spending less might not be reversible. Just the other day, I had dinner with a friend in Shanghai who makes 1 million yuan a year. She used to chase Hermes and Chanel like crazy. This year, she's completely downgraded to Longchamp. Back then, we used to feel like we had to get Cartier or Van Cleef in our pels. Like, if you didn't have that Alhambra necklace, something was missing. But this year, everyone's into gold, jade, and pearls instead. People just don't want to pay that premium for the brand anymore. They'd rather buy something that actually holds value. In the past, when we got together, we'd talk about which new bag, jewelry, or shoes we had our eyes on. Now, everyone's comparing what amazing bargains they found or how much they saved. And it's not just consumers turning away from Hermes. In the first quarter of 2025, the company's financial report came as a cold shock. On April 17th,
Well,
Hermes
who can
revealed that
afford it
sales in
anymore?
Asia, excluding Japan, grew just 1.2%, far below analyst expectations of 4%. That region, once fueled by China's strong demand, was considered a major growth engine. Overall revenue hit 4.1 billion euros, up 7.2% year-on-year, but still missed market expectations. Investors didn't take it well. The stock dropped immediately, though it recovered slightly later. That 1.2% growth figure caused a stir, not because Hermes Hermes is collapsing. In fact, they saw 11% growth in the Americas. The concern is what the number represents. Economists say it shattered the illusion that China's luxury spending is limitless. It also broke the myth that Hermes is immune to economic cycles. Hermes CFO Eric Dualgue said the weaker performance was due to reduced foot traffic in Chinese stores, caused by the downturn in the real estate market, and also because...
I mean, bro, the real estate market in China is absolutely abysmal in the first place. So definitely, hopefully don't bank anything on that specific thing. So, yeah, if people are not buying these gigantic assets, then why would they then walk in to a Hermes store and be like, you know what I'm going to go ahead and do? I'm going to go and buy a Birkin bag. $30,000 for what, bro? Don't do this. Again, I'm just anti the concept of chasing names and brands, guys. I'm anti it, guys.
Of a high base last year. His explanation was diplomatic, as you'd expect.
I'm glad my wife does not like this.
But in China, the phrase real estate downturn carries a much heavier meaning. What's more, in the same week Hermes announced its earnings, its biggest rival, LVMH, also reported its results. The fashion and leather goods division at LVMH saw a surprise decline in sales, down 11% year-on-year in Asia, including China. The 1.2% growth reported by Hermes is seen as excellent compared to others. Bernard Arnault, the CEO of LVMH, also admitted that the situation at the beginning of the year was unstable, impacted by tariffs and geopolitical tensions. This contrast highlights several issues. First, the difference in market reliance. Hermes' sales in the Asia-Pacific region, excluding Japan, make up 48% of its total, while LVMH's share is around 30%. This means that fluctuations in the Chinese market have a much more direct and significant effect on Hermes. Second, looking at brand strategy, Hermes' extreme scarcity approach and its high net worth clientele give it an edge in withstanding economic downturns.
Right, because obviously the super rich are going to still be super rich in comparison to others, so they can, of course, walk in and buy things. But the reality of the situation is, with this happening, specifically in China, a lot of these individuals have no more interest in truthfully dealing with brands, gigantic brands from outside of China. Think about this here. What they're doing on TikTok and other social media is that they're basically saying, hey, listen, that brand that you love, Louis Vuitton or Gucci, whatever it is, guys, right? It's 70% of it is made here. You're still buying a Chinese product, regardless, right? So what are they doing? DHgate. Okay, or things that are similar to that. Like, if you've ever been to China and went into like Guangzhou specifically, you could walk through some of the malls and things, and you'll start to realize instantly that you could buy anything for nothing. Okay, like and I mean anything for nothing. Those super rare shoes you've been looking for, bro, they're there. They're probably like $13. Okay, just so you understand what's happening here, right? Whatever price they give you, talk them down, because yeah. But all right, let's get it.
Compared to LVMH, which has a broader product line and a wider target audience.
What's happening.
This explains why, even with weaker than expected results, Hermes' stock has remained relatively strong. In February, its market value even briefly surpassed 300 billion euros, about 341.2 billion US dollars, and on April 15th, it overtook LVMH to become the most valuable luxury goods company in the world. Investors seem to trust Hermes' long-term stability, seeing it as a safe haven in turbulent markets. However, even a safe haven cannot fully escape the storm. A 1.2% growth, especially for Hermes, and a market used to double-digit growth, is a clear warning. It signals that China's economic problems have become so severe that even the wealthiest consumers can't completely shield themselves from its impact.
I've noticed that many people haven't realized just how serious the downgrade in consumer spending is. I went to a luxury goods outlet in Huangpo over the weekend, and I could barely find anything at full price. Items from brands like Balenciaga, McQueen, and Versace were priced at just a couple thousand yuan, while Armani and GCDS t-shirts were down to the low hundreds. In the past, you couldn't even buy these at such low prices.
In summary, China's market is really sick, and this illness is not mild. Hermes' lack of growth in China is not just a challenge for one company or industry, it reflects deeper issues with China's economy. For over a decade, the wealth of China's affluent class grew almost in sync with the real estate market's skyrocketing prices. Property weren't just places to live, but also the most important investment and a symbol of wealth. The sudden increase in paper wealth for many directly fueled a strong demand for luxury goods. For those who owned millions or even hundreds hundreds of millions in real estate, spending 100,000 yuan on an Hermes bag seemed
It's
trivial.
nothing. Right.
The prosperity of real estate acted like a giant lever,
Yeah,
driving
so it's
exponential
linked.
growth in luxury goods consumption. However, as the Chinese government has attempted to regulate the real estate market in recent years, with policies like the Three Red Lines and housing for living, not for speculation. Yet these regulations
Yeah, guys, as of right now, like a gigantic amount of countries on Earth, let's say, are all doing this here. They're no longer really allowing people to invest, specifically like international investors to invest in their country's property, right, where their citizens need to live. So this is not surprising at all that China is starting to do that themselves.
have increased the risk of a hard landing in the real estate market. Major companies like Evergrande and Country Garden have faced massive crises. Unfinished buildings are popping up everywhere,
Yep,
and
tofu
home
drag.
prices continue to drop.
Yep.
All of this is quickly eroding the balance sheets of the middle class and the wealthy. What was once paper wealth is now showing its fragility. As people realize their biggest asset is shrinking, or may even become a burden, their desire to spend on non-essential items naturally declines.
Yeah, it's declining.
Eric Duallerget, the CFO of Hermes, mentioned that the decline in store traffic reflects the direct impact of the reversal of the wealth effect. When people feel pessimistic about their future income and anxious about the value of their assets, even if they still have some money, they tend to save more and cut back on conspicuous consumption. Naturally, the desire to shop at Hermes fades. This isn't just about money, it's about confidence. Confidence in the economy, in the safety of personal wealth, and even in the country's development path. All of it is shaking. However, many have suggested that attributing Hermes' slowdown in performance solely to the real estate downturn and the high base effect is a bit of a superficial explanation.
Is it?
We need to dig deeper into what has truly eroded consumer confidence and caused a market that was once a goldmine for global brands to now go cold. First, China's wealthy are gradually losing their sense of security under political pressure and wolf warrior diplomacy. Under Xi Jinping's leadership, China's domestic political environment has become increasingly tense, with tighter ideological control and shrinking social freedoms. On the international stage, China has adopted a confrontational stance, worsening its relations with Western countries. The U.S. has raised tariffs on Chinese goods, and geopolitical risks, such as the situation across the Taiwan Strait, have cast a shadow over economic prospects. For China's affluent class and entrepreneurs, this combination of internal and external political changes creates a profound sense of insecurity. They're not only worried about the safety of their wealth, but also about personal safety and freedom. In this atmosphere, protecting life and assets becomes the priority. The conspicuous consumption of luxury goods might even draw unwanted attention and risk. This lack of security caused by political factors is another major reason behind the reduction in high-end consumption. At the same time, Xi Jinping's recent promotion of the Common Prosperity slogan, which is presented as a blueprint for social fairness, has sparked widespread concern among the wealthy and business community. This is especially true when combined with the crackdown on tech giants and the education industry. Many interpret this as the beginning of a new wealth distribution political movement. These concerns are not unfounded. In a system lacking independent judiciary and with weak property protection, wealth accumulation and ownership are always accompanied by uncertainty. When political winds shift, personal property can be redistributed because of a slogan or policy. This fundamental doubt about the stability of private property has significantly dampened the investment and consumption willingness of the wealthy. They're more inclined to move their assets overseas or hold cash and low-risk assets rather than buy luxury items that symbolize status and wealth. Potential
Right.
Hermes customers might be too busy thinking about how to escape, rather than lining up for a new Birkin bag.
I mean, they can't really do much to, let's say, escape, let's say, because I mean, there's only a finite. We're going to stop the video here, guys. Yeah, there's only a finite amount of U.S. dollars that you actually do have the ability to convert from the yuan to U.S. dollar. There's only a finite amount yearly, right? So you would have to figure out other ways, and I'm guessing that could also be another thing they're doing. The reason why some of these luxury brands are so popular, specifically Hermes, is to look at the resale value of Hermes. Um, so if you cannot buy, let's say, enough US dollars to make it viable for you to leave, just keep dumping the money into Hermes, then you can take that with you, let's say, and sell it for a good amount of money. Right? You'll probably make a profit in US dollars. The reality of the situation is, at least, I think. They also mentioned earlier in the video, it could be they were looking for like gold and jade and other precious metals. Again, if you pay attention here, it seems like they are just trying to accumulate things so they can kind of run off into the sunset type of thing. Like if I can't convert more than like 50,000, US dollars a year, then I know what else can convert anywhere internationally. I'm forecasting that here, guys. Right? And it does not surprise me at all that rich people, specifically in China, are starting to be like, okay, hold on, guys. With these tariffs, we're not going to make the same amount of money that we were making before, so we cannot actually sustain this luxury lifestyle. So, you know what? We're going to go ahead and stop spending on the absolute irrelevant. So it could kind of be two things here. Right? It could be the fact that people are just trying to kind of launder their funds, let's say through Hermes, or um, they're just trying to save it. And it's still, either way, I'm pretty much fine with that, to be honest here, right? I do think you should be saving money. I do think that you shouldn't be chasing these literal irrelevant brands. Like you're making it popular, if that makes any sense. Like you're making it something, like more than it is. Because that Hermes bag and another bag is still going to be a bag. I don't understand the bag culture, guys. I'm going to be honest. I mean, I could be biased here because, again, I don't care about a bag, right? It doesn't matter to me. Let me know in the comments if bags matter to you. You want a bag, a Hermes bag that costs about as much as a car does, guys? A car in a used car in 2012, basically, guys. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly.